Hit the button. Hit the button. I'm here.
I hit the button. What's
Hi. Hi, I'm here.
game table? Hide that.
Hi.
Oh, hello.
It was my fault. Gabe was here on time.
It's true.
I was actually here on time, but then I said I needed to take a bathroom break. So, sorry. Sorry, not sorry.
Yeah,
No
what the
regrets.
heck? What the heck?
No regrets. I needed to make sure that I didn't pee myself while streaming.
I thank you for that.
It would.
I don't think I would enjoy that either.
If while painting, I just kind of went.
You're like, hey, Gabe, I peed myself.
I just go. Chris isn't here. It's his fault. Always blame Chris.
Yeah.
Always blame Chris. Your first choice should be always blame Chris.
Favorite host combo.
What's up, Mo? Our favorite host combo. Oh my God. Now you blame
Dang.
Christopher is such a great person for you to slight that way. Let's blame
Mo,
him. Let's blame him
subscribed.
for it.
106 months, Mo.
Let's blame him for it. Mo, 106. I'm not even that old. I'm only 55. Law Dog, what's going on, everybody? Hello. Obviously, Chris's fault.
Yeah.
He'll be
100%.
watching this. It's his birthday.
I know. Christopher's birthday.
It's Christopher's birthday. Creepy old man alert. Yeah, I know. Gabe's getting older. And with his glasses on, he looks even older. But 42% smarter.
True. 42?
Would be that bathroom water bottle experience all over again. You guys will never forget that. That was a great story, though. All right. We're painting bugs. Because it's a weird week where we have to do the June challenge and all sorts of stuff. So
More bugs.
more bugs. Except this time, lots of. I built and painted all of these this weekend.
I know. I was very surprised.
Isn't that crazy?
That you spent all you committed to it.
I committed.
2 days in a row.
I committed to the bit.
I went to the store and decided that I didn't like any of the sculpts that I saw, so I'm gonna print my own.
What?
Yeah.
Traitor.
Yeah. I didn't feel like spending $80 on models I didn't care for.
What models did you not care for?
All of them. None of them gripped me.
I can see that.
None of them gripped me enough to say I will spend $80 on this.
I could see that. I really like the Vespids. The Vespids are cool.
The Vespids were up there. I almost grabbed either the Vespids or the witch ladies with the green flames.
Yes.
Mandrakes.
Mandrakes.
I was between these two. Those were the only ones that caught my eye, and even then I was like, nah, I don't know. I'm like, no, I've not finished or started my kill team yet.
Nor will he, does it sound.
We'll see.
Like, what are you going to print?
I don't know.
Some garbage 3D sculpts?
Probably.
I
have
probably.
I have a buddy who's got a bunch of one-page rules stuff. I might go snatch some of those. They're not great sculpts, but they're cheaper for me to do it myself, and I will say that they're the supporting that they have on it is actually pretty good.
The supporting?
Like the supports they have on all the models, I don't have to do anything.
Okay.
It just comes supported, and it works with my printer very well. So that's nice. It's just easy. I don't have to fight my printer. Evening, everyone. I guess it's afternoon for us.
It's afternoon. It's not even anywhere important. Wait a minute. Wait
Wait a second.
That was rude.
Oof. What time
Ooh.
does evening start?
And why are you rude? Like 5 o'clock.
5 o'clock. So you just alienated the entire East Coast.
Sorry? Sorry?
Sorry and not sorry.
Question mark? Sorry? Sorry? I'm Canadian today. It's Canada Day, so we have to pronounce our O's funny.
Yep.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Happy Canada Day. I never thought that was words that would echo out of my mouth.
Happy Canada Day.
Hey, Happy Canada Day, eh?
I get to celebrate half of this day.
A boot? A boot what?
A boot.
Good afternoon, good evening, and good night. All right. I'm going through, I left off on Sunday with just kind of going through and putting base colors on all the not blue stuff. I'll pick up there. This was a lesson for me in just getting stuff done. Like, legit, just get it done. It took me all day Saturday to build them. These are some cantankerous models.
Yeah, they got a bunch of little spindly bits.
Yeah, there's only like maybe 9 or 10 parts per model. So the sculpts are, I mean, the way that they engineered them is actually pretty good, but they were fiddly.
That's too many.
They went together all right. So I don't have too many complaints, but they were fiddly. So then I came back on Sunday. I want chat to realize that I invited a lot of the people from the office to come paint with me this weekend. And like I said yesterday, none of them did.
I could not.
Trying my hardest to, like, be sociable, get people together, embrace the hobby.
Sorry that I failed you.
And they all failed me.
I was painting, but I also had to do laundry.
You know what the fun thing about laundry is? It happens when you're gone.
It's true, but not when you have to do 5 loads of laundry because
So
you put it off
I
for so
think you
long.
need to stop being a freaking high schooler. There's no way you had to do 5 loads of laundry because all laundry washes in the same wash.
No. I did so I did a load of my clothing, and then I was a nice husband. I did my wife's clothes.
Oh Jesus!
Your
wife lets you wash her clothes?
She does.
What the? Yeah.
It's actually more so that I don't let her wash my clothes. It's the other way around.
I wish Jen would wash my clothes.
And then
not too long back, Jen actually took my clothes out of the dryer and folded them for me. Which was amazing. I love that. That was a big step for her. I tend to do one of two things lately. I either wash the clothes, dry the clothes, fold the clothes, put them all away same day, or I use the dryer as my clothes hamper for 2 weeks.
That's what I do.
So,
but it turns out when you use a clothes hamper, or the dryer as a clothes hamper for 2 weeks, you can't clean any other clothes. So, and then we did change out all the bedding. So I had to.
Oh yeah, bedding is its own gig. That's like probably 2 loads.
Yeah, and then we're like, well, if we're already doing the bedding, we might as well clean all
all
the blankets we have on the couch because those are nasty with a bunch of pet hair. And anyways, I had a lot of laundry to do. I don't like leaving the dryer on when I'm not home.
Watch too many 70s movies?
No, I've had too many times where, especially with heavy items, because I have top loading. I have a top loading washer and a side loading dryer. But I used to have a top load dryer at my old apartment. Anyways, if it was too heavy, they'd start shaking and hitting each other really, really hard.
Sure.
And that happened way too many times that I just don't like having them on when I'm not there. Our new washer is nice because it'll turn off, but then it just turns off and keeps all the water in it. So then it's just
mildew
soaking. Do I always take this long to get excuses out? Yeah.
What I'm hearing. Thank you, chat.
I like to tell stories.
For noticing what I'm noticing.
Because I forget words as I'm saying them. It's really fun. It's really fun for me.
Oh, it's a blast for the rest of us too, Gabe. Trust me.
So fun.
Story time with Grabe.
Story time with Grabe.
I just said Grabe.
You said Grabe.
I added an R to your name.
It's a good Grabe time.
That's a good color for those wings.
Yeah, that's pretty nice. That was a dark green brown?
Dark green brown.
Oh, nailed it.
Said, yeah, it's going to be a good color.
Good. That's good.
I think that works.
Yeah, that's good.
Not too yellow.
What's the next color you're going to use?
Green brown.
And then what?
White.
And then what?
Your mom.
Oh, no, chat. It's Canada Day.
I never fall victim to it, but it's Canada Day, and I had to slip Shannon into the stream somehow.
She's Canadian. Dang.
You can tell her that.
Well,
Shannon, Mom, you're on the stream today.
You're on stream today.
What? She was so hyped this morning. I walk through the office every morning, and I say good morning to everybody. Maybe do some playful fart jokes. And then I wind my way back to my furthest point in the office from my office is usually Shannon's desk, and we high five. And today she was very ecstatic about her high five because of Canada Day. And I was like, so, but you left. And it didn't faze her a bit. Good old Shannon. She's like, yeah, but. She's like, I'm not sure Canada deserves a day, but we got one.
That's funny. So, Jason, you just did something that I don't know if I missed something. I don't know if I missed something. But you put paint on your brush.
I did.
And your base coating, right?
Uh-huh.
But you didn't take any off before starting your base coat.
No.
Because you're base coating. Right?
Because I'm base coating. Oh, you mean on my thumb palette?
Yeah. You didn't do any thumb palette. You didn't do anything on your paper towel.
No, I'm just painting.
And you're not worried about it globbing?
No.
Okay.
No. Our paint doesn't really glob.
That's true.
One of the benefits of Pro Acryl is that it just works. I don't know if you've heard that. Have you heard of our Lord and Savior Pro Acryl?
Yeah.
Lord Pro Acryl just works. And so the nice thing is that it won't necessarily glob up on you. Now, I am putting moisture on the brush, wiping it off on the paper towel, then getting paint on the brush. So that's a lot of paint. Yeah. But I'm basing, so I can drag it across the surface, right? So if I get like a dollop of paint come off the brush, then I can just spread it around.
Yeah.
And it lays super flat. Like literally the bonus of the way we design paint is that it's made to dry flat. And not flat as in matte, because it's also super matte, as everybody knows. But flat as in not obscuring details flat. No texture, no dimension to the paint necessarily. And that makes this super easy to do.
Yeah.
I don't really care when I'm doing base coats. I'll just slap it on there. Because I am trying to cover the blue entirely, right?
Yeah.
I don't really care to have any of it show through. If a little bit does, it's not the end of the world, but it's not my goal.
I did that this weekend. And I thought I was being cheeky, and I was like, I'm being lazy by not taking any paint off my brush and just putting it on. And I was like, oh, that actually ended up being totally fine.
Oh yeah, no.
I didn't know if I got lucky, or but now that you're doing it and seeing you do it, I'm like, okay, I cannot have to scream at little tiny. I was painting these little banners that have indentations in them and like embossed things, and so I was just frustrated. I couldn't get it into the spaces I needed, so I'm like, screw it. I'm putting a bunch of paint on my brush. I'm not taking any off, and I'm just going for it.
Just go for it.
It's great.
Pound it on. Base coats are for just pounding it on.
And I was like, Jason's going to be turning in his seat knowing that I'm not taking any paint off my brush on my thumb palette.
Not at all.
But this is great. I didn't have to upset anybody, and I had a better time painting.
Again, I think people get lost in seeing a technique and then they repeat that technique for everything, forgetting that everything you touch the brush to can be different in the way you apply the paint. It's a decision that you get to make. So if you wanted to just, base coat the whole thing without, monitoring the moisture on the brush by using it on a paper towel or your thumb palette or whatever you choose, you can do that. Against some details, you might wind up with obscuring your details if you're not careful.
Right.
But our paint's really good at not doing that. Now, if I don't have moisture on the brush, that exacerbates the problem. That makes it a real hassle. Right? So you got to be a little careful. I am, getting the brush wet and controlling the dampness of my brush so that the paint flows nice and evenly. But I want opacity here, right? I only want to have to do one coat.
Yeah. And
I'm going over a fairly vibrant and mid to dark blue. Because I used ultramarine on these guys.
Yes, you definitely want better coverage.
Yeah, ultramarine is very vibrant, and I need to cover it up. And I'm going to get kind of a greenish out of it from this yellowy, orangey brown as it goes over the blue, but it's working really well. It's giving me a good, almost kind of semi-see-through effect with the bluish on there, which I like. So I think that works well.
Ray asked, is it almost thin enough out of the bottle?
Yeah, just the moisture on your brush is how I paint all the time. So I'll get a little bit of dampness on my brush. I'm not adding anything to the palette, no water. It's a dry palette, so I'm not even using a wet palette that leverages any moisture into the paint. It's literally just a brush with some water from my cleaning cup, and then pull out a little bit of paint and go to town. Our paint was built, my whole thing for having painted as long as I have is I get sick of, I'm a lazy painter is the way I market it, right? I'm a lazy painter. I don't want to spend a lot of time on the palette. I am here for one thing and one thing only, to make models feel cool. And so I don't want to spend a lot of time messing with the paint to get it to work. So that whole, works as quickly as humanly possible for whatever you want to do with it. Now, you may have to thin it down more as you want to start glazing or doing airbrush filters or something. You want to thin it down, but you can airbrush with it. I airbrushed every single aspect of these guys with the blues with no thinning. The only thing I thin down is you'll see that I have some of this is bright green on here, and I made a bright green with glaze wash medium concoction so I could spray it on really thin. Because the whole model was prime dark purple. Then it was ultramarine blue over the top of that. Then it was, where did I go from ultramarine? I think I went to turquoise. Yeah, turquoise. Highlights. And then I went over the turquoise highlights with little spots of bright green along the neck and in these hands and knee areas and stuff. A little bit on the back. And then, of course, the sides of the thorax. Here. I think that's the thorax. And then I dry brushed the turquoise back over, or no, bright pale green. I dry brushed over the top of that, and then I created a wash that was Payne's gray wash with a little bit of transparent purple, really nice, and it's still gooey from Sunday, right? But it was a wash. It was like a very thin flowing wash, and I just put that over everything, and that gave me exactly what I was wanting. So really repeatable, really fast, really simple, no mixing of colors, nothing fancy. Just colors right out of the bottle. And it allowed me to, on Sunday, I started painting at 12:30 in the afternoon, and I left here at, I want to say 5:30.
Oh, dang.
And I took an hour and a half in between to do some work. So while it was 5 or 5.5 hours, it was really only 4. About 4, I would say. Maybe 3.5 or 4 to do all of this that you see. I was flying. No pun intended.
Well, they look great.
Yeah, I was very pleased with them because for not, we talk about it a lot. For being able to just get your head out of the way and say, I don't want these to be anything more than tabletop quality. It's okay, and that's fine, because these are just because I don't like playing with unpainted models, and a buddy of mine wants me to play Kill Team. I'm like, fine, let's do it. But I need painted models. And he's like, well, I got some, I'll loan you. I'm like, I don't do that. So if I'm not going to borrow the painted models, and I'm not going to use models I already have, which I could have done, right? I have Death Guard. I could put a Death Guard Kill Team together because I have enough painted models in Death Guard to make that happen. I didn't want to do that. So here we are. And I was like, well, okay. It means I got to build them. That was the least fun of the weekend was building these things, because I just hate building. But then getting them done was, I felt really good on Sunday. I just found a real good kind of rhythm. And once I dove in here and I pulled up some artwork from Google where I just Googled like colorful bugs. I think it was colorful insects. And it pulled up a lot of really cool stuff. And one of them was a hornet or a wasp that was these colors.
Oh, that's cool.
Because it was iridescent. It was kind of an iridescent bluish green kind of thing. And the spotting of color was really cool. And I was like, oh, I could play off of those colors, but make them darker, more, military style rather than super rich, vibrant nature colors. And so I just kept that up on my phone and started after it. And it was literally like, okay, well, me, I'm going to base with dark purple. I did that. And then I chose ultramarine because ultramarine kind of bridges that gap between blue and purple really well.
Mm-hmm.
And just went to town. Started pulling turquoises and stuff like that. Did a white blue dry brush a little bit over the end, turquoise over the end, bright pale greens, and can still push it because my whole way of thinking in terms of painting models quickly is to make sure you don't ever limit yourself from coming back and making the model as detailed as you want. So don't do anything that makes it sloppy fast if you can avoid it. You know, if you were to just heavy-handed dry brush a model to get color on it, and then you have all that texture and gross dry brush aftermath from doing it sloppy, then you kind of preclude yourself from being able to come back and say, you know what, I played Kill Team and I really love the Vespids. Now I really want to make these look good. I haven't done any of that to myself. So these could be, I could spend as much time on these as I want to take them to the next level. So just good words to live by.
So Jason, you generally give the advice that you should be painting from the inside, but obviously these wings you're painting now are on the inside, but you've already painted the blue. Was that just for ease of
That's because I was
everything
airbrushing
blue? Okay.
The whole model got painted blue.
Right.
Like when I went back and painted, I tried to stay away from the guns, but I knew I needed these ribs of the outside chitinous ribs on the wings to be blue.
Yeah.
You know? So I was like, well, I'll just paint the whole wing blue. Because there was part of me that was looking at it initially and was like, you know, if I do this right, then maybe the wings can just stay blue, and I'd be okay with that.
Yeah.
But because it doesn't look horrible, but it's just very bland, you know, as opposed to the contrast you get when you do something like this.
Yeah.
Right?
That
It's
does
just much
definitely
better.
look a lot better. Yeah.
So,
welcome in, everyone. Jason's painting up some Vespids.
my first stab at Kill Team happening here. I don't know that I've ever played Kill Team. Because there wasn't Kill Team back in my day. It was just called Necromunda. And then when Kill Team came out, I was like, why don't we just play Necromunda? And mainly, I think, because Kill Team's quicker, right? I think Necromunda's too much of a game. Too much going on. Too crunchy.
Isn't Necromunda a campaign?
It can be.
Oh, okay.
It can be played as a campaign. It can also just be played as a one-off
Gotcha.
battle game. But it's got more in-depth, crunchy rules.
Got it.
For like causing injuries and stuff like that. So I think that Kill Team is kind of like the I don't want to say dumbed down. It's like the light version. But then they made Kill Team light rules. So I don't know. I haven't played it, so I can't really speak to it. Maybe Kill Team wound up getting too crunchy as well. These models are really cool.
They are very cool. I know. I noticed that are you still gonna paint the Kroot, or do you think you're switching over to just doing these?
I'm just doing these.
Cool.
I stared at my Kroot box for a long time after work on Friday, I think it was, right? When you guys were hobbying. Because I was thinking about, we had hobby night here at the shop, and a bunch of people stayed. And there was part of me that was like, I could build these Kroot right now. But then we started talking, and we got a lot of people here at the shop involved in the Kill Team thing. Because I was like, you know, my buddy Blake is going to teach me how to play Kill Team. If anybody wants in, all you got to do, get a Kill Team. We can paint it. You know, and a lot of people rose to the occasion. By the end of dinner, I think we had like 8 or 9 people involved.
Yeah.
So, you know, a lot of people around the shop are going to do this thing with me. And I think that's fun. But in the process of doing that, I had been looking at all the pictures, and I was like, I always wanted the Vespids. But the Kroot I bought because I was going to do something else painted with Kroot. It wasn't because I wanted the Kill Team. It was just the Kill Team has the most flavorful models in it of Kroot. The rest of them are fairly generic when you buy like the army box and stuff. So I bought the Kroot Kill Team because it has individual characters is kind of the way they do it. And in Kill Team you have like operatives that are more like named characters, even though they may not have names, you know? It's like having a bunch of, you know, Space Marine sergeants running around as opposed to just guy number 626. Right. And they have a lot more flavor. And so I bought the Kroot for that. And I was like, well, I had this Kill Team. And when Chris found it, I was like, that's easy. It's done. And then I stared at the box and I was like, I just am not jazzed by these.
Yeah.
And I was like, I keep coming back to the Vespids. Because these models are so bitchin'. And I love the Vespids. In 40K, they were a lot of fun. Back when they first had the Kroot and the Tau and all that, I had all of the Forge World Kroot and stuff. They're near and dear to my heart for that reason. So I was like, well, I gotta do something along these lines. And the Vespid fit. So just made it easy. So I drove out to Old World Games and I didn't even look to see if they had them. I said, I'll go out there and I'll see. I thought maybe I'd buy the cards for whatever, because the cards don't come with the models. I was like, I'll buy the Kroot cards if they don't have the Vespids. Turns out they had the Vespids and they didn't have cards for anything because they never sell because everybody uses the digital.
Yeah, I know.
And so you can't get the cards they had. They took them all to their warehouse. I was like, oh. He's like, yeah, just 2 days ago. He was like saying it as a point of pride. Oh, yeah, man, if you'd been here 2 days ago, you could have bought them. I'm like, well, you realize how frustrating it is what you're saying to me right now?
Is that Old World?
Yeah. Like, I drove all the way here, and you're telling me that if I'd have come 2 days ago, I could get what I wanted, but I can't get it today, because ha ha ha. That was a little disheartening.
Game Delay said, why is YouTube chat now tracking my XP and crowning me as the #2 fan? Is chat competitive now?
Oh, yeah.
I guess so.
Got to gamify everything.
Yep.
They gamify games, dude.
Yes. I found a really cool game yesterday, and I'm very excited about it.
Video game?
Yes.
Uh-oh.
It's called Lens Island. It's a top-down survival game.
Okay.
And it's got a very fun art style that kind of reminds me of like not as pixely as RuneScape, but it's kind of got that kind of Unity vibe to it. And it's really neat. It's very chill.
Cool.
I'm excited about it. But yes, they gamify everything. That was my little tangent.
I'm still farming old Destiny 2 stuff for exotics that I never got so that I can get ready for the upcoming expansion.
Oh.
Because they're changing the way all of the armor and weapon stats, well, not weapon stats, but all the armor works. So because I know that now, weapons that I would not have farmed before are going to become very important in some of my builds. And so that's fun.
The Game Delay's comment about being #2 made him #1. It's funny.
So they must have just started this. I have not heard about it.
I've not heard of this either. Time to spam chat so I can be #1. Please don't. That's what they've done to this, though. That's funny. I've been working on one of my Lumineth champions.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty excited about how it's coming out.
Your Lumineth color scheme is really good.
Yeah, I like it.
It looks really good.
I need to figure out how I'm gonna paint it for the rest of the army because I'm not gonna do it at this level.
Wait a minute. I thought you had already seen some regular dudes painted. Or no, it was your banner guy, huh?
No, I started to paint some of my guys, but I didn't like the green. The green was a little too blue.
Oh.
So
well, then maybe I don't like your new one because I remember the old one. I thought the old one was great.
The one I was doing
it's like green and gold
at Hobby Night.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just the one guy. That's the new one. Yeah, that's the new guy. But it's only one. I wanted to spend some time on a nice paint job on something, and then once I've finished that craving, then I'll not speed paint, but quickly paint the other ones.
These are a little more fiddly than I thought they'd be.
The wings?
Yeah, just because the way they overlap tight to the body here.
Yeah.
And the little kind of spiky bulges in the...
Oh, and the wings as they collide.
Yeah, a little finger here.
I mean, from here they look great. It looks like you're not missing a single spot.
Again, it's just not being too particular about it, right?
Yeah.
It goes back to what I was saying. You just got to make sure you're fulfilling whatever your expectation is on the model in your hand. And for these, I'm not worried about them being top of my game. I'm more worried about playing and having painted models.
Jeremy said, I want to put paint on a model, but I don't know what I want to paint.
What do you got? Nothing speaking to you? For me, it's usually just looking around and something jumps out all the time. Stage all your boxes of gray stuff around the room so you can just kind of sit in your chair, turn around in your chair and see all your stuff. You know, behold my things. And one of them will jump out at you.
Agrippa says, oh, and my in my continued exploration of using Noosh to make glazes, using it with the new Expert Sepia is really fun to add into the shadows.
Oh, yeah.
It's cool. Emerson said, I love painting these. I have a problem, though. I've had 2 of them break on me. Any recommendation for how I can reinforce them?
The Vespids? Where did they break? Like at the foot? These things are pretty crappy with the way they're so thin at the connection point to the ground, and some of them only connect by 1 foot. You'd have to pin them if that's the case. Get yourself a paper clip and a very tiny hand drill. Drill some holes and then stick it through. You know, like this guy's only connected by 1 foot. So if they were to like pop off, drill in like at this angle here into the foot, then super glue a little paper clip into it, and then drill a hole into the piece, because they're all like dancing on tactical rocks, so it makes it a little crazy to pin them back on. The ones that are connected with 2 feet would be easier. You could just super glue them. But I don't know that I'd trust the single connection point to survive.
Nibling, I just put it in work in progress. A photo of my elf. Gamely said, oh no, the #1 fan status resets every stream.
Oh.
And you can get higher status by sending super chats. It is pay to win. Pay to win.
Yep, pay to win.
Yeah.
Well, it's only pay to win if we treat the super fans differently than we treat regular viewers, right? So, like, if you were to pay and all of a sudden, you know, the producer got nice to you,
you get sushi
as opposed
points.
to the normal mean producers that we have here.
Yeah, you get, when you super chat, I come in here and I run stream, not Chris. And I give out Fisher points. Which
I don't know that I'm ready for chat to be able to vote to that critical ability. I don't want to see Chris cry.
He's been outvoted. He's off the island.
I always walk in and Jen's watching her horrible television shows, and they're always, it seems like I always walk in. I think they're always voting somebody off of whatever show she's watching. Somebody's about to get axed. And I'm like, who's dying? And she goes, oh, these people here. I go, is it making you sad? Are you about to cry? Do you need a tissue? She always gets, I don't think she gets mad at me, but I think she gets mad at me.
Chris is always saying so many nice things about me. I know that that is the most false thing that has ever been said.
He doesn't believe in giving Gabe freaking free pub.
Nope. I don't give him any free pub.
No free pub.
No free pub.
I talk about them all.
Money Hobbies treats all of chat with equal disdain.
Yes. That's why I apologize every stream. I find myself apologizing. Sorry, chat.
Sorry, chat.
I'm so sorry, chat. I didn't mean for it to be this way. When my vision when I started this whole thing was that you could have a refuge to come and be liked by all, treated equally, right? And just sit around and enjoy some good old-fashioned paint time. Instead, you got Chris and Gabe. Sorry.
It's okay. That's fine. I'll just cry about it later.
You'll cry?
I'll cry.
You're mean to people and now you cry?
Yeah.
You made this about you?
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Type of person I am.
You'd talk to your wife.
Thank you, Emerson. I appreciate it. Panic Bomb said, Jason, are you sure you don't want to see Chris cry?
Yes. Yes. Chris is a grown-ass man.
Seeing grown-ass men cry is pretty hard to watch. It makes you cry.
I just did it the other day. I got all emotional.
I got all teary from it.
I looked around the room and I was like, I feel really bad. I'm making all these people tear up. I got super emotional at our staff meeting the other day, and it just kind of started coming out. I was like, oh damn, I didn't mean to do this to you people. I looked around and like Gabe's all red-eyed.
Yep.
Phil's all red-eyed. Everybody's all red-eyed. I'm like, dang it. It's not my intention to tire everybody out by making them cry in the middle of the day after eating Jimmy John's. I'm just very passionate about this. It means a lot to me. I like what we do.
It's true.
Turns out.
We do some pretty cool things.
And when you like what you do, you get invested. I didn't say, oh, I should have said you get Vespid. I'm very Vespid in what I do, Gabe. See? Do you see that?
Yeah.
I'm very Vespid.
Invespid.
I'm very Vespid.
Invest.
Would you like to be an investor?
Derpsick said, I still struggle with is knowing where to keep the base coat of a color on a face. Like, say I base coat with burnt umber, do I keep that visible on the side of the temples?
I guess it depends. A lot of it depends on where shadow is and isn't. Not a good example because we only have half of a face here, you know. But like on this guy, did the burnt umber as a base, and it's really just visible as it goes into shadow because of the Terminator cowl over the top, and then in the wrinkles and maybe the pinch of the eye, right? So I'm just leaving it in places where the shadow would be. On the temples you could, but the temple is not necessarily a shadow spot if your light's coming from above. It's more of a flush spot. So the temple might be a little more red, but not necessarily shadowed. So I think the right way to say it is to leave the burnt umber where the shadows on the face would fall first and see how you like it. And then you could go back and glaze some into the temples if you feel like that's right. But remember, when underpainting, I paint that band of color from the eyes to the ears, the top of the ears in red, because you get that flush color in the eye socket, top of the cheeks, top of the ears, and temple area. And so that works really well. Or something like a burnt red glazed back into the temple works good. Like I said, I think you really just focus on making sure the dark colors where the shadows are in the flesh tones.
Misfit, welcome in, first time chat, saying, I love Pro Acryl paint.
Why, thank you. We're doing a quick little ditty on some kill team here. I got, what is this, 11 models? Like some weird number. Most get 6 or 12, and I get 11. Which means that Vespids used to get 12, and they found out that was abusive and reduced you by a model as a balancing act. Because one of my models is a stupid drone that doesn't really do anything.
I did see that.
Hmm?
I did see the little drone.
Yeah, it's like one drone and 10 dudes.
Misfit, we stream every weekday from 2 to 4 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. So you can catch us every weekday, except for when we have days that we're not, like the 4th.
Like Friday. Because we're closed Friday.
Yeah, we stream all the time. You should come hang out. Put paint on models. Talk about paint.
Do
about what we're doing.
All types of painting here. It's funny. We're shifting from doing a display model to doing tabletop models.
Yeah, a team.
We just got finished with Lucas Zaba's Lord Bzt. I say finished. I'm finished painting on stream with him. I still have some details I got to do and then find a way to base him. I think I'm going to put him on a plinth. I do a cool plinth for him. I really love that model.
Yeah. Prisoner 6 with a sub for 9 months.
Thank you. Yeah, we paint a little bit of everything here. We answer a lot of chat questions. Never feel like your question is not welcome. If you're in chat, you're a new painter or an old painter or in the middle of new and old. You got something you want to know. Maybe it's something you see me doing. Maybe it's something you see me not doing. Maybe it's something you've seen somebody else do that you'd like to know about. We are here to benefit you in your hobby journey. See, that time I wiped on my thumb for no other reason than habit. Like I actually caught myself as my brain was telling me to do it, and it's because I'm sitting here talking to chat.
That's funny.
My brain just goes into autopilot mode, and you control the paint on your thumb. Yeah, never feel like if you've got something that's bugging you, something that is keeping you from progressing in your painting, feel free to ask. We might not have all the answers, but we know quite a bit. And if you do not use our products, you are still equally as valuable with your questions. Don't feel like they have to be about Pro Acryl. We're here to help you with painting in general.
So we've got beach models not canceled. We just wanted to push it back a little bit
Yeah, she's here.
because this week was a little funky. With we had Jordan on stream yesterday. We've got the challenge review tomorrow or Thursday tomorrow, and then we're out on Friday. So we wanted to get started on it when we had a nice full week of content.
There's literally only 2 painting days. Chris is out today, so I felt like I was more comfortable with Chris and I doing that as a focus for a solid week, so you guys could tune in day to day and not feel like you're missing something. This is going to be very haphazard this week with the June review and all that stuff.
I'm not good enough to hit the record button yet.
Well, it's not about hitting the record button. It's knowing
when to hit the record button.
Yeah. Chris and I have a rapport built up.
It's true.
Where he directs that traffic really well. So it's nothing against you, Gabe.
No, it's okay. I'm going to take it to heart.
I just know.
I take it to heart.
Well, you should. You should go home and cry about it. Add that to your cry list. The Gabe tier list.
Yeah.
See what I did there? Tier list.
Fire Minis, thank you for the sub. 25 months. Woo-hoo.
Love it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Prisoner, I am not the face behind the voice, unfortunately. I'm the better face and voice behind the voice.
Dang.
Yeah.
He just keeps digging his grave.
It's true. Someone whose name is There Are Some Who Call Me Tim.
Yep. That's Mike.
Mike?
I think it's
Hi,
Mike.
Mike. You always change your name, so I never know if it's you or not. Or if it's someone else that's come in. Says, why do you seem to be Jason in his youth today, Gabe? Well, you see, Mike, a few weeks ago, I couldn't see things properly, so I went to go get my eyes checked, and they said, you need glasses. So now I wear glasses.
The funny thing is, I don't wear glasses.
You do right now.
Only the
Chat,
readers.
Chat thinks you wear glasses.
Only the readers. I only wear readers, and the only time I wear these readers, they stay in the studio is when I'm painting.
Yeah.
I can read books. I can do everything else. I just found that this gives me a different kind of clarity. And it was only by mistake because I was making fun of Jen. Some of you probably remember that day. It was on stream. I was like, oh, did you forget your eyes? Look, I got your eyes. Blah, 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 blah. And I put them on. And I was like, ooh, these are cool. So I immediately went out and got myself some. Big help. Turns out. Making fun of your significant other. Make your painting better. Don't tell them I told you that. Might not go over well.
Alberto asks, is it fine to use oils over acrylic paints?
Sure. Yep, it's good to use anything over acrylics. It is not the same, the reverse. The thing that you need to remember is that acrylics will cure faster. So what happens is that you have to look at the cure time of the paint you're putting down versus the cure time of the paint that you're putting it over. Okay? Does that make sense? So if I'm putting down acrylic cures very quickly and solidifies and dries and the whole nine. So if I'm putting it over something like oils that take a long time, or lacquers or enamels that take longer to cure, then I need to make sure I give those paints the proper amount of time to fully cure. And that's tough because like oils could be 72 hours, 90 hours, depending on how much oil you leave in them. Sometimes never, you know. So you got to be careful because if you put the acrylic over the top of a paint that takes longer to dry and then that acrylic cures, the paint underneath it is still doing what we call off-gassing. And when it's off-gassing air, for lack of a better term, in layman's terms, the air is trying to escape through a plastic coating of acrylic. And so that plastic coating of acrylic cracks as the air pressure underneath it builds up from the off-gassing of the paint. And that's why you get things like orange peel, weird textures in it if you paint acrylics over oils sometimes, because generally people do it when they're trying to go fast. And it'll just mess things up, so... But painting oils over acrylics is easy because the acrylic will be cured by the time you put the oil over it. And the oil will not cure fast enough so that the acrylic that might still be wet and dry and all of the evaporative gases can escape. There you go. The mo you know.
Mike, it's not just a backwards hat. It's the same backwards.
Hello, fellow youths. Might I interest you in some hop hip?
Some hop hip?
Some hop hip music? Some hip hop music?
Derpstick said, I guess the purple would stay untouched, or would a glaze of burnt umber over it make it look more natural?
Make it look a little bit more natural, right? Because if we were talking about on the skin, right?
Yeah.
Then you would glaze the skin tones over the top of all of your underpainting, which sinks it under the flesh, right? Remember, when we're doing things like underpainting, you're trying to recreate the idea, is on skin, you're trying to recreate the idea of the transparency of actual skin. So you've got, skin as a translucent layer, and each dermal layer gives you more opacity. So depending on where the skin is, how far it's stretched over the area you're painting, you can see through it more or less. And so glazing the skin tones over all that underpainting is what brings it home and makes it look live, more realistic. What are you doing over there?
Changing the chair.
Oh, sick of the freaking bouncy chair?
I'm sick of the bouncy chair. This is way better.
Has that changed your life?
This has changed my whole life for the next hour and 10 minutes.
I'm gonna do the I told you so, but it wasn't really an I told you so. It's just that I've been sitting here wondering why you didn't do that every time you've been on stream.
It's true.
It's just a chair, Gabe.
True. It is a folding chair, and it's better than his other chair. Christopher's right. I was talking to Chris about it, and you do need to sit in it constantly.
Well, you get used to anything.
It's one of those that like it corrects the way that you're supposed to sit, so
Yeah.
it's like it's good for you, but it hurts. And I just don't want to deal with it.
That's funny. That's what Jen tells me about everything.
It's good for you, but it hurts.
Yeah. She says, don't worry about the pain. It's good for you.
Yeah.
It's just kind of the way she talks to me. Now you've reinforced that, and I believe it more now. And thanks you.
We have a question. How would you recommend thinning paints correctly? Because I either under or over thin them.
We have a video up on our YouTube that it's like how to paint with just the water on your brush, something like that. I teach and practice on stream every day the idea that the active thinning of paints should be left for when you're doing something like airbrushing or something where you need to lower the opacity dramatically, like creating a glaze or a filter of some sort, right? For normal painting, you don't have to thin. You shouldn't have to thin your paints much. Now, I understand that there are paints out there in our hobby world that are too thick. A lot of our manufacturers, our competitors, the easy way to tell you this is that they make house paint in small bottles, so the paint feels thicker. Now, they'll market why they do that, why they want a thicker medium in their paint for whatever reason, blah, blah, blah. You don't, right? The holy grail is to have your paint flow nicely at a lower viscosity, but still give you good opacity on the model, to give you good coverage. Because in our minds, we think of it, the more watery feeling a paint is, the less it's going to cover, right? Because of the paints we've been dealing with for so long. When we made Procryl, and the way you see me paint, is that our paints have very high opacity at a lower viscosity. So they feel more fluid, give you great coverage, and you don't have to thin them much. The only reason you thin our paints is to lower their opacity so you can see through them and do other cool techniques with them. So I just paint with the moisture on my brush. So like what I'm doing right now, right, is this brush is pretty much dry. I've run it out of paint. I'll come over here and I'll rinse it off in my water cup real quick. So now I have however much water the brush will hold in it after you've rinsed it out. I don't squeegee it on the side of the brush or anything. Just whatever water can fit in it, fits in it. Then I have a paper towel here, right? So I have a paper towel off to the side, and depending on what I want to do, right now I'm base coating, so I don't need a lot of water on the brush because I want it to be opaque. So I'll wipe it 3 or 4 times, right? Now, I still have some wetness on my brush, so that it'll hold a point and so that it's damp enough to allow paint to really flow on and off of it. But I've never actively thinned my paint. What I've done is I've left some water on the brush that has the action of thinning paint as the paint goes onto the model. But I'm not thinning paint on the palette. It's hard to control paint thinning on the palette because it's constantly changing. Water's evaporating out of it, so it might be perfect for a minute, then it's not. then you add more water, and then it's perfect for a second, and then it's not. Then you add more water, and now all of a sudden it won't go back to perfect because you've put so much water into it that now it has no opacity. So you're hindering your painting while helping it at the same time. So what I always say is just paint with the water on the brush, right? And I'm getting good coverage, good flow. I'm able to get paint into the nooks and crannies with just the tip of the brush because it's thin, but it also has good coverage because I didn't aggressively thin it. I didn't add water to the droplet of paint. It's why I don't use a wet palette, because a wet palette constantly thins your paint, which I don't want. I want my droplet of paint on the palette to always be the same as it was coming out of the bottle, so I can do whatever I want to with it, right? So again, I'll just go back and rinse my brush, wipe it a few times, and pull a little tail out of the paint pot, or out of the paint droplet, and then go back to painting. So it's that easy. And I just leave more water on my brush if I want to see through the paint more, blend it, layer it more with a color underneath it, and I leave less water on my brush if I want a base coat and cover completely the color underneath it like I'm doing now. Make sense? That's the easiest way that I can describe it, and if you learn that, your painting will elevate 100-fold instantaneously. Stop trying to actively thin paint. If the paint you're using has to be actively thinned in order to just use it, switch paint brands. As critical as I'll ever become of the products you use is that if it isn't working easily, find one that does. Because there's not enough time in this world to spend all of your time fuddling around with the paint on the palette to get it to just work. Paint needs to just work. And most hobby paints are not meant for the hobby. They're meant for painting walls. It's just cheaper for manufacturers to make it the way that house paint companies do because it's easy and efficient. We make paint the way old world paint companies made paint. We do it by hand because we believe in the quality of everything, maintaining that consistency so that it does make it easy and you don't have to fiddle around with it too much. You don't get more use out of a thick paint. There's all sorts of wives' tales people will tell you. You tend to waste more.
Oh, we got a slew of questions here.
Sure.
Lord of the Hunt asked, Jason, did you use a blue or purple base color after priming it?
This I primed in our new dark purple primer. It's not available yet, but we have dark purple primer.
Oh, man.
So just to piss everybody off, I used our dark purple primer. So
I'm sorry, chat. I didn't mean to do that to you. That was not intended.
I just answered the questions.
Yeah.
I'm an honest man,
no.
and I answer questions honestly.
Oh,
you get
no.
the truth from me, chat. I'm all out there. I'm all up front. I'm an open book. Sometimes you don't like it, right? But yeah, we have dark purple primer coming. We also have red oxide primer coming. I have red oxide primer, purple primer, and bone primer is the third one that we'll be doing. So you'll have access to all of these very, very soon. So yes, but it was dark. Avian's like censored. But yeah, you'll have access to the dark purple, and that's what I did here. I did dark purple primer over the raw plastic, and then I did ultramarine blue over the top of that. And then over the ultramarine blue, I did a light highlight of turquoise, and then a dry brush of bright pale green, and then a spray of bright green that I thinned way down. Like we were just talking about, I thinned it aggressively so that you couldn't see it much, and I did the bright green on the shoulders and stuff to give that kind of iridescent sort of feel on those areas. And then I put a really dark wash of Payne's Gray mixed with transparent purple over everything. But I thinned this really, really low opacity so that when I put it on, it darkened it up and you can see it in the recesses, but it didn't give any gloopy washiness, right? It didn't make it seem like I'd put a wash on the model. It just filtered all those colors back together so they didn't look like spots of color.
Okay, just because I'm going to skip a couple questions just because the reaction to you showing purple primer was so large. They want to know when and whether it'll be a can in a rattle can, airbrush primer, or brush on primer.
It'll be airbrush primer. We have the Imperial Purple in Colorforge primer already, which is really great. It's more like royal purple, not quite as dark. Although we are talking with the Colorforge gang on doing a formulation of our dark purple for spray. I will wait before I do it in a rattle can to see how it sells as an airbrush. I think it'll do really well because I think people are going to love it. But I'm gonna wait and see. So it'll be just the 4-ounce airbrush ones. We're waiting on releasing it until the retail rack has space for it, which our new retail rack I just approved. So our new retail rack will be going into production and ready to hit stores, late August, something like that. So probably sometime between now and late August, I would say we'll get it.
Tired 11, thank you for the raid.
Welcome, everybody.
Thank you so much. Welcome in, everyone.
Yeah, it made it so easy. I mean, I know we want it. I know we need it. So you'll be getting it. The red oxide's also very good, but the purple is just something I think will sell droves. If you've watched anything I've done in the last 9 years, you know how much I love dark purple as a base coat and how well it works on stuff like this to just give a nice shade to brighter, vibrant colors, especially something like blue. But also for painting flesh and just about anything you can dream of. So I think people are going to love it. What other questions did you miss?
Yeah, so Michael Holt said, I've been having an issue with PA bronze that it's kind of gloppy unless I add a bit of water to it. Said, I'm in SoCal.
I mean, the paints typically, unless they are old, should not have any type of problem. Sometimes if you don't close it right, it might dry out. If it's brand new, contact support, right? There are in manufacturing occasions where towards the end of a production run, viscosity may increase to a point that doesn't feel right. It's very rare, but yeah, if it's not coming out right and not being usable, then contact support. They can get you taken care of. 100%.
T-Schmidt asked, on a paper towel, do you keep a spot clean just for water wiping?
Nah. You'll know that on the dirty part that the water doesn't soak off anymore, and then you change the paper towel. I'm a caveman. There's no nuanced stuff. I mean, when you see me talk about how I paint, you can know that there's literally no delicacy to it, right? If you just use the paper towel and then it's just saying that, this paper towel is so dirty that it's not, flexing anymore. It's not soaking water up anymore because it's filled with paint, then just change it out. You see mine right now is like the leftover from dry brushing the bright pale green on these models the other day. So, yeah, it's stiff where all the paint is, and eventually I'll fold it over, I'll do this and fold it over, and there's some new white. But eventually it's all been wet and dry so much that none of it is soaking up water anymore. No. And you can tell.
Nicolaus said, would Procurl ever make a speed paint kind of product, or is it against the company's mission or vision?
No, it's not against any mission or vision. We want, so I think that the reality, we just talked about this recently in a product development meeting, because we get asked about it all the time. We would sell a bajillion bottles of speed paint if we came out with one that worked. The problem is not whether or not it fits some mission or goal. I love the idea of newer painters and older painters alike being able to have a tool like that can either be used to see great results early in your painting journey. Like you just want to get models on the table and enjoy this world of ours. And so you put speed paint on it, dry brush it, do whatever you want. Done. I love it. Right? There's ways to do that I teach that don't include you having to buy another color. So in order for me to sell a line of paints that is something different than normal pro acryl, it would have to have an intended purpose that I know we can do better than something else that's out there and that does it better than pro acryl already does. The Expert Acrylics is a great example. Having a line of heavy-bodied acrylics that feel like a soft-bodied acrylic, but have the pigment load of a heavy-bodied acrylic. So you get a tremendous amount of pigment for vibrancy and controllability, but it's soft and creamy and smooth and lays flat like a soft-body acrylic, right? Because we don't want what heavy bodies are made for. They're made for peaking and for feeling more like oils on a canvas. We don't need that. We need them to go into chainmail and not clog details. So we make them smoother, have the same pigment load as the higher-end paints, and then give you colors that aren't in the normal range so that you can use them for glazing and experience new things. That made sense. For a speed paint to make sense, it has to change something. It has to do it better than any other option you can buy out there. And right now, we have not found that something. We have not found what really makes me, as a painter, say, yeah, I'd use that. Because for me, in order for you to come like on this stream and ask me a question about this color we sell. Hey, I'm using, or I'm wanting to pick up your speed paints. I need to be able, as a human being, to sit here and tell you all the right reasons why you would buy ours versus somebody else's, right? Which I can do with any of our other products, 100%. But with a speed paint, I don't feel that way. I don't use them because it doesn't fit my painting process. I can make glazes and filters much easier with water on my brush and the colors I already have. So selling you another color just to have another SKU and another sale doesn't make any sense. You know, I'd rather wait for you to run out of your favorite color so you can buy it again and use it for anything you want. Mix our glazed wash medium into it. It becomes a speed paint. Put it in your airbrush. Do whatever you need to do. That's our mentality. Now, that does not preclude me from being able to say, hey guys, I just found out a way that I can make a speed paint that blows the doors off of everybody else. Let me introduce you to it. If we were to come up with something like that, then yeah, we'll release one. Just not there yet.
Cool. A couple questions about what you're using for a palette. It's a glass palette from the Amazon.
What's that?
Your palette. It's a glass palette from.
Yeah, it's just a glass palette. I forget what the brand is.
Amazon.
The sticker came off a long time ago. But if you go to Amazon and say gray glass palette, you'll find these. They have rubber triangle feet on the sides that keep it from being glass on tabletop, which is cool.
Yep.
They make them in like 3 or 4 sizes. You get like a 4x6 one. This is the 9x12, and then one of you guys has the huge one.
Yeah, Philip has a huge one.
Philip has a big one. It's like 11x17. It's nice.
Yeah, it's great.
That's what I need in here.
We have a question. Do you have any tips for getting into airbrushing? Because I'm hearing it makes
but before that, Jorge, I use a dry palette all the time. So whether it's this or a piece of palette paper, I use dry palette so that the paint that I put on it is always the consistency that it is in the bottle. Because I need to make sure that every time I go to the palette, the paint is the way I expect it to be, to change it into what I need it to be. It's very rare that I come over to the palette and put paint out and then just do something like add a bunch of medium to it here. I'll use a mixing cup if I'm making like a wash or a filter. So everything that's on my palette should be able to be used however I want. I can add a little bit more water on my brush and turn it into a glaze. I can use it to base. I can mix it with another color and know that it's going to mix correctly because it's not overly thinned. Wet palettes just make that tough because a wet palette is constantly thinning your paint. And so your paint only for a few minutes is exactly the way you want it. And then it gets thinner and thinner and thinner over time, starts to break apart. So I don't like them. What was the next one? The satin black one?
No, do you have any tips for getting into airbrushing? Because from my hearing, it makes things just a whole lot easier.
Any tips for getting into airbrushing?
Yeah, like what are some ways that if you're interested in getting into airbrushing, where should you start?
Oh boy, I think that the big thing. What can I do here to have this not be out of focus? I hate that I'm sitting it on. When I sit it down here, it's like giving people headaches.
I can adjust it.
Huh?
I can adjust the focus.
There you go. Yeah, I just hate that it might be giving people headaches as we're not painting. The biggest thing that I can say for getting into airbrushing is just do it. Now, that being said, I don't pressure people into saying you have to get the best airbrush in the world in order to start learning if it's for you. Airbrushing may not be for everybody. I think it is. I think that a lot of people give up and get frustrated, but I don't know that I can blame them. Some people are not as mechanically inclined. They don't ever want to take a tool apart and know the pieces and chase a spring down because the valve spring flew out. And I get that that's frustrating for some people. And you have to be able to maintain the tool for the tool to remain useful. It's like anything. It's like if you own a table saw, but you never grease the table saw motor or clean the blade, your table saw is not going to be your friend forever. It's going to eventually get to a point where it breaks and you're going to be frustrated. So you just have to take care of the tool. So it's a very simple machine, an airbrush is. It only has a few parts you have to worry about, but you do need to worry about them. You need to take it apart, break it down, clean it consistently, I would say. Maybe not every time, but enough to where it keeps it in working order. Just being able to know how to use it and spend some time learning that, asking questions, watching videos on YouTube, coming here and talking about it. We show you how to clean your airbrush a lot, show you a lot about how to use the airbrush. I airbrushed all of these down to the point where now we're just brushing details and stuff to make it go quick. But, it really is a great tool for everyone, whether or not you may just buy a cheap airbrush like one of the Masters sets off of Amazon or something. It comes with an airbrush, compressor, hose, and a bunch of paints you'll never use. But if you buy something like that, it'll last you and will prime your models forever. And I think that airbrush priming is one of the best things in the world. Rattle can has its uses and can be great, but airbrush is something that you can always fill in the details with. You can go out and rattle can real quick and then come back in and spot detail them with the airbrush to pick up the spots that the rattle can didn't hit because it's not as precise. But if all you ever did was prime and base coat your models with an airbrush, it's worth its weight in gold. So long as you didn't spend $1,000 for a rig. I'm not saying you have to go buy the biggest, best airbrush and compressor rig. Cheap ones will work just as well if you're not wanting to do very detailed work. As soon as you get confident with your airbrush, that's when you want to start investing in a better one, because the tooling and manufacture of the better airbrushes will make sure that they perform the way you need them to perform when you need them to perform that way, assuming that you've cleaned them. Whereas like the Masters airbrush doesn't guarantee that. It's done with shoddy chrome, shoddy polish. You can sometimes pull the trigger on cheaper airbrushes and feel stuff grinding together as the slide moves. It's just not, the tolerances aren't machined as well because they're cheap. They're done quickly in a lower tolerance environment so that they can be less expensive. And that's just the truth of it. Cheaper metal that wears out quicker, hasn't been hardened the same way. Different needle, manufacturer, tip and nozzle manufacturer, things like that. But those things don't necessarily matter if you just want to brute force it and learn the machine. So I'm one of those people that says, hey, in get the best one you want to afford at the time you want to jump in is the best thing I can tell you. And don't be afraid to go to Harbor Freight and pick one up. Warpgate, no problem, man. A lesson I learned recently is that you get what you pay for with airbrushes. I dispose of the junk master brand for a much higher quality one, and the difference in ease of use is night and day. Definitely. And that's why I say, if you start with what we'll refer to as the junkier, lower cost ones, those will they are the training wheel for the process. And that as soon as your confidence is there, like when I learned to ride a bike, I learned pretty quickly. And I think my parents were kind of mad they bought the bike with the training wheels, and then the bike wasn't as cool when you took the training wheels off. You had to wind up getting another bike. So, but if you go in knowing that your compressor will stick, your hose will stick, a lot of the cleaning tools that you get with those cheap Masters kits will stick, you'll still use them. The brush itself can be relegated to being just a priming brush or a base coating brush where there's no need for detail, just coverage. It'll work fine for that. But once you get the confidence that knows that you're going to now start layering, you're going to start trying to do filters, you're going to start doing close-in work and spot detailing and late-game blending, then you're going to need a better brush. Because you're going to need to know when you pull back the trigger, it responds the same every time. Doesn't hitch, doesn't jump, doesn't give you sputtering, things of that nature. So yeah, you will invest in a much better brush. There's a reason for them. Yeah, the Master stopped being able to pass air. It was that bad. Their valves go bad. Right? So the guts of the valves start to deteriorate quickly with them when you use, especially if you have hard water, I found. But yeah, Northrax, a cheap Harbor Freight compressor for like 6 years. Yeah, definitely. Why did Monument stop selling airbrushes? When you partner with a third party and they continue, we don't have any control over price rises and costs and things like that. And as a manufacturer, because we manufacture our paint and everything else, we have a business that's built around being able to control those costs so that we don't have to consistently raise prices. We can do our part on our end. And when you have a party like that and the cost of the machine is so much, Grex makes a fantastic airbrush. We still support them wholeheartedly, use them in the thing. It just became an insurmountable task for us to find a cost break-even point. The amount of money we had to spend to bulk up stock for the time that it took to sell them is just too much. It's a bad business decision long term. But that's the only reason. It sucks, but that's the case. Find a friend who's been airbrushing for an amount of time and they have a spare brush to loan you. Oh yeah, definitely. If you have friends that have brushes, even going over to their house and using it and just trying it out, if you don't want to take that risk, is great. Finding a sample brush to use someplace. Some stores have them. Some stores have airbrush spots. I know those are probably fewer and further between, but. Well. Somebody keeps pulling out all your paints for projects and doesn't put them back. Game delay, that's you. Jeremy says, actually, Monument's brush-on primer is fantastic. It's great. Absolutely great. But yeah, it's meant to travel. It's not going to be your, we don't sell it in gallon drums the way you need it. Producer Cam looks like a picture sitting on the shelf. Yes, it does. They can actually make it that way, and that's what I've told Chris he needs to do, is because you can angle it and make that whole thing look three-dimensional. So that's what I'm going to push him to do. Do you all have a tutorial on Droidecas? I don't know which ones those are.
They're
the round ones?
Yeah, they roll around.
The ball ones with the big guns?
I think
that's on the heavy base for them. We've done a lot of droids, so the same things that you see Jordan do for the other droids, you could do for those.
Yeah.
For sure. Just move the shelf. No, you can take these and you can put a filter on it in OBS that makes it, gives it a shape. Like you could turn it into a circle and do all sorts of stuff. It's very easy. I'll show Chris how if he doesn't know. Chris is a smart guy. As someone who lives in South Florida, airbrush primer is the only way to go. Humidity's tough. You should try our Monument sprays, though. The Colorforge and Monument stuff are fantastic for that. Chris has a video of him, Chris from Colorforge has a video of him spraying in the rain. You know, basically doesn't change anything. Now, he's not spraying in the rain, but he's spraying when it's raining. You can't get more humid than that. And it still lands on there. Because of the acetone base, it's meant to be traffic marking paint that you can spray in any climate. So believe it or not, you can get tremendous results in any environment so long as the can itself is not compromised by being too hot or too cold. Right? That's usually the thing with airbrush or with rattle cans. Is that the can will be cold. You know, you've left it in the garage or in your closet or some space that when you pull it out, it's not room temperature. And then you go spray with it and it starts hazing or, you know, doesn't cure, doesn't give you the color you expect and things like that. So you can always set it in warm water, not boiling water. Boil your rattle can.
My guess, are there specific Grex airbrushes that Monuments handles could be switched out onto when the ones I have finally die?
Yeah, the Grex TG and XG. We use the same model numbers to make it easy. The TG3, it's just a TG series. They number theirs in TG by the size of the needle with the TG and the XG, but same brushes, same rubbers, same handle, same everything you want to swap out right there. You know, that's what you would do anyway. We never changed enough of that to where you couldn't do it. Oh, show. What is rain? Nibling, I have no idea, but we've heard about it.
Yeah. We had it on the forecast this week, and then it went away.
Oh, that's right.
It burned off.
They said we were supposed to have like a big front move in.
Yeah,
I forgot I saw that. Did they literally just say, "Oh, we were wrong"?
It's not on my app anymore. It's just gone.
Turns out weathermen get paid for nothing. Just saying.
It's true.
Meteorologist, best job in the world. Don't have to be good at it. The only thing you have to be good at is making sure that you don't take offense when people say you lie. That's it. All you got to do. If you're right once a year, you probably get the job. Sorry to all the meteorologists out there who say there's a lot more to it than that, but you'd have a hard time convincing me.
Especially in Phoenix. I feel like it's pretty rough here because things are so volatile. Danger asks, are we ever going to be able to get our hands on the retail racks? I need to show off my collection.
We're redoing the retail rack now. We had mentioned before that if we wound up switching to the new retail rack and still had the old ones in stock, we would make them available to the public at cost. That's what we had said. Unfortunately, it does not look like we will have any left. We are so aggressive in opening stores, and our team is so great at completing store openings that right now we're probably going to have to hold off opening up any new stores for a while the new rack comes in. So unfortunately, I don't think we'll have the retail racks for sale to consumers anytime soon. I mean, there's not a world, I won't say that a world doesn't exist where we couldn't sell the new rack to people. I don't know that you'd like the price. But, I mean, heck, if you're already in the mindset that you want to have something that big to show off your paints, it probably doesn't matter, you know, because you're talking about like a $300 plus shipping kind of a thing because it's a big steel rack.
It's big.
It's 6.5 feet tall and a little over 4 feet wide.
You would get to show off your collection, though.
Yeah. Yeah, the new one has all the appropriate stuff for the expert acrylics. The new texture and tube, which by the way went live. I know a lot of people were asking about that. We announced it in the Discord before the weekend, but if you didn't pay attention to the Discord announcement and didn't see the announcement today on socials, all of the textures in a tube are now available. If you buy our textures, that's what you get. It's funny, we've had pushback. Like, we can't do anything without pushback. People are like, I bought everything from you guys, but I don't know about this. It shows the loyalty to the way it's been is strong. There's no reason for this stuff to be in a tub other than it's the only thing you can fill it in without a very large investment. And now we've made it better, and people are griping already.
It's just different. No,
that's the thing. It's just not familiar.
Yeah.
Why would you change it? It's worked forever. But has it though?
Yeah, but then you use it for the first time, and you're like, oh,
but
wait a
has
minute.
It though? No, it's not when you use it the first time. It's when you use it the 10th time.
Yeah.
Right. I have always wanted to not put our texture in a tub. Tub works. It's been the way it's been in every brand and everything for decades.
No, I was meaning when you use the tube for the first time. Then you go,
oh, when you use a tube for the first time, you
go,
shut up immediately. You're like, this is the best thing ever. Yeah, the tube makes basing something that you're excited to do again, as opposed to fighting through that dried top layer of crud in the tub. That never made me feel good because it always made me feel like I was paying for something I wasn't getting, you know?
Anton says, I love your paint so much. Thanks for all the great work you are doing and the quality products you provide for all of us.
Thank you. Thank you for giving us a chance. Our craziness only works if you're equally as crazy. Maybe that wasn't the way to say
that. Someone named Tim said, what's a good rack solution for the new heavy body acrylics? I'm struggling to find a decent storage solution because if they aren't in the open, I won't remember them.
So the Discord is a great resource. One of our Discord community members made a 3D file that you can get 3D printed, and it's fan-freaking-tastic.
Oh, snap. I'm going to have to grab that.
It's fantastic.
That's awesome.
It's basically the same thing as our retail rack one. It just has two prongs that come out that are the separation of the T-cap so that it just grabs the cap and holds it vertically.
Goes on a pegboard?
Works right. Yeah, it goes in pegboard.
Oh, man. I know what I'm going to have Ryan print for me.
Or you could, probably make a backing plate that you could just screw into the wall if you didn't want to put pegboard up.
Yeah, that's cool. If you're in here and you made that, thank you. That's great.
But yeah, and we have thought about having our engineer create something similar and just make the file available for free. So I just need to find some time on the schedule to do that and to design something that I'm happy with. And then we would make the STL free so that you could just download it and give it to a friend and print it out. So we're thinking about that. We thought about that for all sorts of racking situations. I just need to find the time that feels like I can give up to do that. Because we have been asked many times to bring back our storage solutions, and we're not going to do that because the MDF is expensive and hard to ship, a nightmare to manage around here for packaging, so we just gave up on that. But it doesn't mean that we couldn't offer up easily 3D printable, FDM style printed solutions that we can do for free. You just have them as downloadables on the site. Mm-hmm. That's one of my plans. Right now we're trying to open the EU website, so stuff like that's a little on the back burner right now, but we'll get to it someday.
Question is, what are some general tips you would give to someone new to the hobby?
Oh boy. Where to start?
But paint on the model.
Yeah, my first big one is dive in. Rule of cool should rule the day. Paint what you like. Find something that excites you to paint. Don't listen to people that say, "Oh, don't start with something that like this. Always start with some junky little D&D model." I feel a lot of people tell people to start with something they don't care about so they can mess it up and not like it. I'm the kind of guy that's like, start with something that's bitching so you feel inspired to do it. Mm-hmm. If you don't like the model, you're not going to paint the model. That's just the reality. So find something you dig, something that seems cool to you, regardless of what other people think is cool. And like Gabe said, start putting paint on the model. Grab a brush, grab paint. Doesn't matter what brush, doesn't matter what paint. Start with something and start staying within the lines at a small scale, right? The biggest thing is like what you see me doing here, making sure that you can keep the paint where the paint's supposed to be. My biggest teaching, I guess you would say, thing that I live by is that painting is all about getting the right amount of paint in the right location on the model. That's it, 100%. That defines everything you need to do. Now that scales into some pretty advanced techniques, but all the techniques are about putting the right amount of paint in the right place. So just start with putting paint in the right place. and do paint the base coats, we call them, the base colors for everything. If he's wearing boots, paint the boots brown. Wearing a shirt, paint it green. Wearing pants, paint it brown. Whatever. Pick some colors, start putting paint on the model, have some fun, and then start taking it as far as you want to. Start watching videos, coming and hanging out with us, learning more and more about what it means to reproduce the idea of light on a model, how to highlight, how to shade, how to mix, how to blend. It's a world you'll never stop learning in, which for me is so rad, because every day I pick up the brush, I come up with something new, try something new, get asked a new question in chat that makes me think about things in a different way than usual. There's so much in painting, because art has as many ways to do it as there are artists. So, my philosophical way of answering your question is, don't get hung up on right and wrong. There is so much out there with so many people and so much noise in the miniature painting space, especially right now, with people telling you the right way and the wrong way. 10 doctors recommend this. All the catchy, clickbaity stuff as people try to make themselves relevant in the content world, right? Forget all of that and just find what attracts you. Somebody's painting a blue and you like the blue. Somebody's painting a red armor thing. Go look at it, watch it, enjoy it. See if you can reproduce any of it and turn out a cool red that you like yourself. Don't worry about right and wrong. Don't worry about people telling you that, oh, that's not how you do that. Don't worry about any of that nonsense. It's easy to get hung up in that because the world is so daunting, especially if you don't come from a place of doing a lot of art. It can be like, I don't know what to do. So just do and not worry about it. You'll find your way. Pick a model, look at the box art, Google what other people have done with it. Hell, I still do that. Looking at these, I Googled at one point, like Vespid color schemes. I didn't like any of them because they were all like yellow and orange, which I wasn't in the mood to paint. They look good. So then I started Googling colorful insects is I think what we did. But yeah, finding reference, doing it your way. Treat it like fun. The fun you want it to be. Does that make sense? I hope that doesn't sound like a cop-out. But I think for new painters, that's the big key. Make sure that you don't burn out quick, because there's a lot to get burnt out on. There's a lot of things that can seem overwhelming. Jump in, start having fun. If you're here because you love the games, then get some paint on the model, play the games, enjoy the time with friends. If you're here just for the art, if you love to just paint and you're wanting to create some really cool painted miniatures, then, dig in. Ask questions. I'm doing amazing things today. I'm base coating 5 million freaking wings. So remember, it's not always the fun part that you get to do. Sometimes you got to work through the tedium to get to the cool. I had a lot of fun painting the base coats on these guys to get the blue worked up over the weekend. And that's usually, for me, a big point where I have to stumble past the fun that I have in creating the main color for the model into finishing the model. Because now I get to the tedium where, yeah, I'm still exploring color. Yeah, I'm still coming up with cool ideas on the model, but it's just not as fun for me at this point. It's like, oh yeah, paint 50 million wings, great. There's 4 wings on 10 dudes, right? Top and bottom. So 8 panels on each of 10 dudes. 80 panels I got to paint this color, and then I got to paint it again. So don't get bogged down thinking about that.
Wooden asked, when... Oh, where'd it go? I just saw it.
Lady B says, no Baby J? Nope. Baby J was here yesterday.
Yeah.
How you doing, Lady B? If you ever get to the point you don't feel like painting what you have set... Can you scroll back up?
Yep.
That was a long one. If you ever get to the point you don't feel like painting what you have set up before you, go get something completely different that you've never painted before and just go at it until you feel better. Oh yeah, that Agrippa, perfect. Yeah, it's the rule of cool thing. If what is in front of you isn't cool enough to spend your time on, find what is. I always say don't push yourself into areas that make it not fun, right? If this gets to be tedious doing these wings, I'll pull another model down and start painting it. I don't have a problem with that at all, right? I'm not on a timeline. I don't have to finish these. Can Pro Acrylic wash be thinned with a water instead of medium? Sure. 100%. All of our paint's thin with water just fine. Normally, you'll see me just thin with water until I'm making a filter. Then I put the glaze wash medium and water in there.
Widan asked, when is the EU store available? Very interested in that.
About 2 weeks is my hope. Mid-July. The team started today. Their official start date for our employees in France was today.
Woohoo!
So they're not doing much today, but tomorrow our product shipment shows up, supposedly. Yep. So they will be loading up the warehouse, getting all the products situated, getting everything arranged for getting all the shipping stuff started. We'll be training them on the outbound shipping stuff. I've still got a lot of work I'm doing on that. That's our biggest holdup right now, is the ability to ship all across Europe. It's a pain in the butt. Europe is, sorry, but not very modern when it comes to shipping. We're so used to the U.S. where we have a national shipping agent for all 50 states, and in Europe you don't have that, so it's a real pain in the butt. So we're still setting that up, but soon that'll get set up, and as soon as we do, then all of that'll come together. It'll be done through a number of carriers based on country that you're in, but once all that's been tested, give us about a week to 10 days, and then we should be good to go. They'll have product tomorrow, and that'll be frustrating for me, because I'm like, I want to put it live.
Yeah.
Did you miss one? Did you have one you were trying to find?
That's the one I found.
Oh, okay, cool.
That was it, yeah. Like, asked, any tips for rattle can priming a model with a shield or a pose that is mostly blocked by the base?
That's where the airbrush is so much easier. You can do it with a primer. What we do around here is we get a painting stick, the stir sticks from like Home Depot, and put like poster tack on it or double-sided tape on it and stick your models to it so you can take the stick and move it around however you want. That'll help you with the rattle can get into all those nooks and crannies. In that way, it's not too much dissimilar to an airbrush. It's just you can't control the airflow. So you're going to get a lot of paint piled up on the areas around the inside area you're trying to get to. So just be careful of that. Make sure that you're not holding the air can too close so that you muddy details by blasting so much paint over it while you're trying to get into the nooks and crannies. So when is Monument doing an Australian store, Lady B, to save you spending $100 American in shipping? Well, you have stores down there. You have the Combat Company is one of our biggest dealers. They're just across from wherever you are. I think they are only just across the country, right? So it should be much easier to get shipped from like the Combat Company. We have a lot of dealers in Australia. We have one large distributor. You have Combat Companies in New South Wales, but that's closer than America. That involves shipping, but it's not. You said American shipping. Are they expensive to ship from? That I don't know. Go kick your local store and tell them to call Let's Play Games and buy the product. They usually stock all the items, Lady B. I don't know that they have it in stock right now, but you can check. And if you contact the Combat Company, they deal direct with us. They're one of the few stores in country that buy direct from Monument Hobbies. They don't go through the distributor. So they can get everything. I mean, the people that go through the distributor can technically get everything, but the distributor has to order it. So you're 2 slots removed from the final verdict. Whereas Combat Company, you could call them and say, hey, can you bring in a go bag for me? And they will. Yeah, and like Jeremy says, you could get some of the brush-on primer, and for any of the things that the rattle can misses, just brush on those spots. That's typically what I tend to do, because I work with Chris, and when he rattle can primers my models, he misses spots. So I go back and fix them.
He misses spots.
He doesn't anymore, because I got onto him for fun, but Chris takes it very seriously. He's a good man in that regard. But he gets very serious about his work. And when I kind of tongue-in-cheek criticize that, oh, look at this, I can still see all this gray plastic, that's wonderful. And I beat him up on stream for it, then the next model is like perfect. So he does not joke around with his priming anymore.
If I missed your question, I apologize.
Ask it again.
And ask it again. Tag Monument Hobbies makes it a little easier to see. Lots of chats today. Everyone's
sometimes chat gets going quick enough that we miss. Remember, chat, that Thursday is our birthday stream.
Woohoo! Christmas in July.
Yeah. No. Christmas in July is the 25th.
Is that the whole thing?
This is our birthday stream.
Christmas in July is the 25th? Yeah. I'm so confused.
Our birthday is the 4th. So we're celebrating it on the 3rd because we're not here on the 4th. Christmas in July is the 25th because that's when Christmas is, the 25th.
Okay. Well,
I'm just repeating what I'm told.
Great.
Can you switch back to painting?
Yes, sorry.
So.
Great. Any fun plans for Gen Con? We'll be there. We'll have a booth there. We'll have some fun stuff. come check out. Nothing out of the ordinary. Other than you can come and hang out with us, show with us some things you've painted, and talk painting, and we've got demos and all that fun stuff.
Got some fun miniature stuff cooking. I don't know if we'll be ready in force by Gen Con, but it may be.
That'd be cool.
We might have some fun stuff. We're working with some amazing people, chat. I have to hold my tongue, but good God, we got some fun stuff coming up.
Oh, man.
I can't even tease you because I don't want to. And until I get through the process, I can't share it. But holy cow.
Man, this is rough, chat.
Yeah.
He's done it twice today.
What's that?
You showed them the primer that you used.
Oh, yeah, maybe a little purple primer at Gen Con. I could do that.
That'd be fun.
I say I could do that. Kyle may be watching and raising his fists in the air, screaming at me right now. But I think,
we can do
I think they can be done.
In 20 days, so we can have it shipped out there.
I think they can be done. Maybe not. That is kind of close.
It is a little close.
When is Gen Con?
Gen Con is the first weekend of August.
Oh, that's right. Gen Con's quicker and then Nova.
And then Nova.
All right, yeah, so no, we won't.
Yeah.
I don't think we can do it by Gen Con. I was thinking it was the one at the end. Nova's at the end.
Other way around.
I probably will not be attending Gen Con this year.
Oh, really?
The team will be going without me, chat.
Well, then I got to change your reservation.
You have a reservation for me?
I do.
Well, should have asked.
I did.
No, you didn't.
It was in February, so
Huh?
it was in February. We scheduled rooms.
Yeah, I don't know that I'll go.
That's all right.
I have to admit, Gen Con is not my favorite show.
It is.
It's a lot.
It's a lot, and especially because you've said that Disneyland would be the worst place on the planet to go to because of the people. Gen Con's a little rough to walk through.
That is solely the reason. I love every aspect of the shows, hanging out with the people that come to visit the booth, talking about the products, painting, hanging out, having a good time. It's great for that.
Yeah.
It is 100% not my gig because of how big it is.
Right.
I just don't like events with that many people banging into me the whole time. Especially there because they're all carrying those monstrous, caskets filled with board games on their back. And they stop at an intersection and turn around and nearly floor me with their backpack filled with heavy board games. It's just a lot. I have to admit, man, I'm an Adepticon guy.
Yeah.
Although, I will say this, Contrast in Poland may be my favorite show now.
I know. I feel
I
like
will
we need
find
to
a
get
way
you
to
out
be
to
at
more of those art
Contrast
shows.
as long as Chistoff and the gang do Contrast. It's just so good.
Yeah. We've got, can we please get the full-size bottles of brush-on primer?
Full size, you do have full size. What are you talking about? They're 22 mil.
Jeremy said Wizard's Butt primer when?
Wizard's Butt primer? Just like a random color? I could do it in an opaque black bottle. I have had this thought of doing Wizard's Butt in an opaque bottle so you couldn't even tell what color it was until you put it out on the palette.
Oh my gosh.
I've really thought
evil.
about this. Right?
It's even more evil.
The only problem with it is that we already source millions of the regular bottle, and I don't think I want to make them have to do that for us. Right? Our vendor that makes the bottles is in the U.S., so it's easier, but I don't think they'd be happy if I said, well, could you make me about 50,000 black ones? It's just not enough for them to wake up in the morning to do that, and I was like, that's the only thing that keeps me from doing it. On the brush-on primer, I know that the question is that when can you get it in 120 mil? It is not in our plan to do it at 120 mil. Could we? Most assuredly we could. But it was meant to be a travel size, right? And so I'm a little reluctant because the people that need the 120 mil are fine with the smaller one. The people that don't want the 120 mil, I think, are more prevalent. I don't know, though. So I'm not willing to say no. I'm not going to write it off entirely. It costs a ton more, and I don't think you would like the price. Right? The economy of scale for the 120 mil stuff is pretty brutal. It isn't just the the cost of, 5.6 bottles or whatever it would be normal, right? It's the process that fills the larger bottle, and the cost associated with that. So,
Lady B, sorry, my name is Gabe. I'm filling in for Chris while he's out today.
that's Monument Jabe.
I'm Monument Jabe.
He has not. I want you to know, chat. He hasn't touched any of the noisemakers today. So, there's a fart.
I have.
Did you?
I've done claps.
Oh, that's right. You did.
I've done claps. That's
Okay.
it though. I don't want to touch any of Christopher's whistles.
You didn't touch the whistle. Oh, it's so
Jesse
good.
Hobbies, thank you.
So good.
Will you ever consider giving a PDF on the site with wizard butt ratios so people can mix their own to match the butts of wizards past?
Oh boy.
I don't even know if we could.
So funny thing, Gabe is not far off. When we make wizard's butt, we do it specifically to not know how we made it, unless I think. Now I say that production knows. Like if I went and talked to Ruben's on top of his game. He would probably know.
I don't think he would be able to do some of them.
But it isn't about that because, well, I say that it is for your perspective because if you just wanted to mix two colors together, that's the way you do it because that's all we do for Wizards of Bud. The bigger problem is how I would make that color. I really like the first one, the lemony yellow.
Yeah.
Right? I love that color. It's great. When we run out, I'm going to be sad.
That one is tough because we literally went and grabbed bottles off of the shelf out in the game room.
Oh, yeah. It was crazy.
So...
It was like making what we used to call a hurricane when we were skateboarding. It was like when you went to 7-Eleven and you just mixed or like a suicide, you mixed all the sodas into one. Whatever they had on tap at the 7-Eleven is what made your drink. So It's called a suicide because you never knew. Back in the day, you didn't know. The taps weren't like QT. They only had like 4, and they changed them out. So you never knew what flavors you were going to get. You might get like Fanta Orange and Mountain Dew and Coke. And Diet Coke, and you had to mix it all up and drink it. And that's kind of what Wizard's Bud is, right? It's like this unholy concoction of whatever we have laying around, and it always works because our colors mix so well, so they don't just turn into this spoogy gray. But at the same time, it's very difficult for us to tell you what it is. So long and short of it is that I may take some of the Wizard's But's colors and add them to the main line over time in a real mixture that isn't so multi-pigment dense, because we might take a paint that has 3 pigments in it and a paint that has 2 pigments in it. Now you got a paint that has 5 that doesn't need but 2. So long story short, probably not. The exclusivity of Wizards Butt is that it's great when it's here, and when it's gone you miss it.
Apple Jackson asked, should the lids that come with the empty bottles have any of the seal parts that normal filled bottles have?
If you order the twist caps.
Yeah, the twist caps will come with
The dropper and the flip cap do not, because they aren't built to have those.
I believe the regular twist cap ones will have the seal and the gasket.
Yep.
We'll have both in
Yep.
in it.
If you order the alternate lids, they don't come with anything.
Lady Miniatures asks, WTF is Wizard's Butt?
What?
Do you want to show her what Wizard's Butt is?
I got a couple, yeah. I got all of them, I think. Wizard's Butt is us pointing fun at the industry for all its idiotic names of paint, right? The fact that, like, what the hell kind of color is Wizard's Butt anyway is in one of our biggest commercials, right? One of the commercials that was the most fun. It has my nephew in a dunk tank, and I'm talking about how we label our paints, and I was like, at Monument, we like to keep it simple, just like the way we name our paints. And my nephew goes, yeah, what the heck kind of color is Wizard's Butt anyway? And I go, exactly, kid, and then I hit the thing and dunk him in the water. And so it's become a big shtick. It was just some fun that we were having. But what we do is we make a paint called Wizard's Butt, which is here. So Wizard's Butt is pointing fun at the fact that when you name something Necromancer Cloak, nobody knows what the hell color that is. That's just you having a piss, right? And so we make Wizard's Butt, because Wizard's Butt is literally the same bottle with the same exact SKU, MPA butt. MPA butt, same barcode on every single one, but every one is a different color. Because how do you know what color a wizard's butt is? It's whatever color it wants to be. So we've done 4?
4.
Yeah, we've done 4 wizard's butt colors so far. They are all unique in that they are mixtures of the overflow colors in production. So whatever's left over is remnants in production. So you've got kind of a neat purpley tone, this lemony yellow, a really cool green, gray green kind of, and then this red, which is actually really good, like a bright plum red almost. So that's it. It's just us pointing fun at the industry for its naming conventions.
I like to say you don't know what color it is until you see it in person.
Yeah. Yeah. Because only do you know when the wizard shows you his butt. Or her butt. Which is funny because after we mocked the industry, so many of our competitors started putting the color names on their bottle.
Yeah, I did notice that.
It is so amazing the effect you can have as the little guy on the block when you say something that is true. It had such an effect. So we pride ourselves on those little nudges that we do in the industry.
Jeremy says, my only complaint, is the bottles are a little too hard to squeeze.
So the plastic on certain ranges, we had one range of bottles, and unfortunately we ordered bottles by the millions, so this was a lot of bottles. But we had one set of bottles last year at some point that were a little harder durometer on the plastic. And we caught it, but I can't, we'd already produced 500,000 bottles with it. So we changed it. But yeah, there is a series of bottles out there that's a little harder to squeeze.
Yeah.
Still works, but the normal bottle is not.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. The fixed bottle, or what it was before.
Yeah, it was right, and then it was wrong, and then it was right again.
Yep. Those are all
because
solid.
Our bottles are all custom. They're not. They're mass produced for us, but they're not a normal bottle in the world, the way we have it designed. And the company that does it here, mixes the plastic every time they mold them. And one of the mixes just was a little off. So we apologize profusely to people. If it's a struggle for you, you can contact support.
Questions about ordering Wizard's Butt. How can I get my hands on some Wizard's Butt?
Wow. This is not that kind of stream.
I know.
You people. This is not OnlyFans. So Wizard's Butt is a very elusive thing. It is, I will tell you this. Do we have any we can do for the birthday stream? Can they make a run of Wizard's Butt?
I could see potentially.
Have production. Anybody? Hey, Kyle. Kyle, you watching?
I talked to them about some today. We have an idea that I need to run past you. We may be able to have some.
Just make a color. There's no ideas. Just go make it.
Great.
We just told everybody what we do. So yes, we'll try to have some Wizard's Butt for the birthday stream on Thursday. 2 days from now.
Yeah,
but usually Wizard's Butt shows up like that. Special events that we do. Shows. Gabe takes some to shows occasionally. And if you come by and show us a picture of a model you've painted with Pro-Acryl and post it up with your social media tagging us, you can get Wizard's Butt. We did that at Adepticon and LVO, I think. So we do fun stuff like that from time to time. But it isn't something that's ever been for sale. It's never been for sale on the website.
Nope.
And probably won't be in the foreseeable future because the color changes. And while we want it to be something that we have fun with, I feel like as soon as we charge people money for it, there becomes an expectation to be able to get it again. And that's not the case. Yeah. So
we occasionally it goes in random orders.
Yeah, every now and then it'll just go. People will just get them tossed in orders. Our fulfillment team is fun that way. They'll just kind of pick a random order and throw a Wizard's Butt in. Somebody will say something really funny on their order. I don't want to make it seem like that's all you got to do and you'll get Wizard's Butt. We get a lot of funny notes on orders, but we won't be able to have it because it's not all the time we even have Wizard's Butt.
It's true.
It's just a really fun thing that we do, that we like. It's fun for customers. But again, it's not supposed to be something with a formality attached to it. It's like the bold sense of humor. If you never saw a bold sense of humor, do you live under a rock? But we did, do we have one here? No.
They were both given out?
No, we have a misprint.
Oh. It may have been moved during the studio cleanup.
But we have, we did a thing called Bold Sense of Humor, and it was a deal that I made a graphic of one of our paint bottles that had Mr. Potato Head arms and legs. Or no, it didn't. It was just the bottle with the Groucho Marx glasses, right?
Yep.
So I just did a deal where I just made a graphic real quick because a person on social media, I forget what it was even about. Do you remember what it was about?
It was something about, it was the plaid paint video we did,
No.
right? Wasn't it?
No, it was before, long before that.
It was something that someone said online and you made.
We made
joke.
a post, and like we're kind of funny and irreverent with it, and somebody got real cocky about it. Like they didn't like it, you know. What are you even doing? You know, this isn't. It was a guy that said he'd run many companies, and if he'd run any of them like we run our company, he'd be out of business and would have never made any money. And so I was having some fun with him or something like that. I don't remember. I was having some fun with him, just jawing back and forth, being, you know, friendly, but, you know, irreverent, right? I was just having my fun, like Wendy's and Taco Bell on Twitter discussion, right? And he got blown out of shape, and I was like, dude, you know, I bet you're really fun at parties. I've got just the product for you. And I immediately went in the store, made a custom product called Bold Sense of Humor, and I made this graphic all in like 10 minutes. Like, he posted his thing. We were having this live discussion on Facebook, and I said, give me a second. I have just the product for you. And I went and made Bold Sense of Humor, put Groucho Marx glasses on it as a bottle of paint, and charged $499.99 for it, as what I put it on there, so that nobody would buy it. It was a total meme product. And I put it on there, and it shut him up, right? But a bunch of people laughed at it. It was great fun. And then somebody bought it.
Yeah.
One of our viewers bought Bold Sense of Humor. It was on there for 24 hours.
Yeah. Wasn't there for that long.
It's like a day. Because I told everybody in chat the next day, and we had some fun with it. You know, go buy a Bold Sense of Humor. It's $499. And people bought it. We sold 2.
We did. And
so after that sale, I thought to myself, oh boy, I have to do something now, because somebody just paid us $500 for a meme, right? And the person that ordered it, I think, didn't they send us an email or something, say, I don't know if this is real or not. I don't know that I'm expecting anything for it, but I just wanted to see what it was. Yeah. And he goes, so if you tell me it's a joke, whatever. And I'm like, no way, dude. You didn't just give us $500. I don't care how rich you are. That's not what we do. Yeah. So I had our sculptor sculpt Bold Sense of Humor at, like, I'll call it 1/6 scale. It was big, right? The bottle was probably like 6 or 7 inches tall, right? Yeah. Like 105 millimeter. And I had him put Mr. Potato Head shoes on it, and Mr. Potato Head arms with the gloves, and the Groucho Marx glasses. And we painted it live on stream, and we sent it to that customer. So you got a custom sculpt of Bold Sense of Humor painted by me, and then Jordan did the other one, right? So there's 2 Bold Sense of Humor resin prints out there that have traveled and had some great pictures sent to us, and they've just been fantastic. So, great stuff.
Very, very fun.
Yeah, so we've done all sorts of stuff like that. We did the Attitude Adjuster once, which was just a 10-pound sledge that was $500. Nobody bought that. We had a lot of people that wanted to buy that and were going to buy it, and I told them that if they bought it, I would hand deliver it. That was the deal. I was like, if you bought the sledge, because I think it really was like $500 or $1,000 or something, but it would get a day's worth of paint tutorials with me. I would fly to your house, deliver the 10-pound sledge. It was going to have wood engraved on the handle, Monument Hobbies. I was just going to go buy it at like Harbor Freight. It's like a $20 sledgehammer that I'm going to engrave Monument Hobbies on. And I would fly out, bring it to you, and you'd have a day's worth of classes, but nobody bought it. A couple of people thought about buying it, but nobody bought it. Tadpole's like, I was very tempted. Mike's like, I'm still waiting for the Attitude Adjuster to come back in stock. Yeah, exactly. Hand delivery by one of the artists, and we'd do a class with you. Or take you out to dinner or something. It'd be hilarious. The second person admitted it was a drunk person. It was, and he is the manager of one of our retailers, one of our retail stores, and wanted to know if he could get the discount on it, the wholesale discount.
I remember that.
Yeah, he bought it on a drunken stupor one night and wanted to know if he could get the wholesale discount on it. Oh, it was $2,000. Yeah, that's right. That's right, Mike. It was $2,000.
Yeah, General Geeko does professional photo shoots with his Bold Sense of Humor. Every holiday, we get some professional photos.
Yeah, he does. It's so good. General Ginkgo is awesome. He goes through and takes his Bold Sense of Humor and puts it like he did in the Christmas. It had like accoutrement all around it and like flock snow and stuff. It was awesome. It went off the site when you got the money together, Mike. That's because we knew we didn't need you spending your money on something silly like a sledgehammer with a visit from me. Never meet your heroes, Mike. I'm not near as fun after a long day on a plane.
Especially if your plane gets delayed.
Oh God, don't let them lose my bag. Just don't let them lose my bag. I'm so afraid to travel after the France trip.
Yeah.
I lose everything. When I go to Europe from now on to go visit our French office, I'm just not taking anything except my carry-on, and I'll just buy clothes when I get there. Part of the expense of the trip is jeans and t-shirts for Jason. I'm a big dude, though, and Europe doesn't know how to make big guy clothes.
$2K for a day of how to load a brush training. Worth it.
Personal one-on-one training. You'll be a much better painter when I leave. Jen swears to God that's how she paints so well. Is because she got to sit next to me one-on-one to learn. I still don't believe her. I think she was born with it. She was sitting here at Hobby Night painting. She hadn't painted for like a damn near a year and was killing it. It's like so natural for her. She was painting her Salamander texture trainer and just killing the blends. She is the best blend I have ever seen. And she gets so shy about it. She's like, no. Bushman, thank you.
Yeah, Bushman, have a great night. It's already 3:53.
That's nuts, dude. It's been a good show.
Crazy.
A lot of fun. A lot of great questions. If you have any other questions you wanted to ask, whether you're a new painter, old painter, been around forever, make sure to get them in here in the last few minutes. We do close up at 4 o'clock. So last call for questions if you have anything you want to talk about before we end.
Have a great night, Dusty Hobbies.
Somehow I have used 2 hours to paint, what did we say this was? 8 times 80 wing panels in 2 hours.
Yeah.
I painted all of these models quicker than I painted these wing panels. Now I also wasn't talking to people while I was doing it. I had a good audiobook on. So I get in a groove when I'm painting on the weekends, which was refreshing, I got to tell you. Sitting here with the audiobook going, and I was like, good God, man, I've done a lot. And I kept looking at it. It had only been like an hour. So I say when that question for new painters, just paint. You'd be surprised at how much fun it can be to just get in the groove, doing something new, putting paint on model.
And can I ask, what colors did you use on the Vespid guns?
On the guns right now is just dark neutral gray and neutral gray. There's also black red on these bits.
Nice.
I based in dark neutral gray, and then I hit it with neutral gray to start the stripes, the panel lines showing up. And then they're going to be white. So I will go to bright neutral gray next, and then white transparent over the top of that for a dirty white gun. I feel like the white will be a really good contrast on there. And then I don't really know what's in the middle here. On the models, it seems like it's a stone of some sort, like a focusing crystal or something. So I might paint it like some glowy, use our fluorescent colors on it, and do like a glowy green would be cool to offset all these, or maybe a glowy orange. I'll wait till the white's on there and figure it out.
Lady V said, I bought the Pro Acryl Transparents. How do I use them? Someone mentioned that there's a video we have. That's a great way to...
yeah, the Jordan video is fantastic. He does a great intro to it. He uses them on damn near every model. The biggest thing to know is thin the ever-loving crud out of them. They are super vibrant, single pigment colors. Think of them as high-end artist acrylics, like our expert acrylics, right? But just with a very low transparency and in liquid form. Because that's really what they are. For lack of a better way to say it, they are our expert acrylics in liquid form. Because they don't have the opacity that the rest of the line does. But they are real acrylic paints, meaning that you can thin them with water, treat them like you want. They won't have that weird sheen that inks do, but they provide that vibrancy that an ink will. So you can use them through an airbrush, brush, mix them with anything, mix them with the other paints. Mix them with metallics is one of the coolest ways to use them. Because you can put them into your metallics to make like, I love bronze with transparent blue. It gives you this really cool, like almost iridescent bluish green, gold craziness. So I love them with metallics, but I use them for everything. I put them in the final wash on the skin or the chitin, whatever you want to call it, on these Vespids. was done with transparent purple and Payne's gray wash mixed together. They just are a great way to add a punch of color while maintaining a lower opacity so that you can do things like filter and glaze with them easily. Super flexible. Kenny from Next Level Painting uses them for damn near everything. He kind of uses a CMYK paint style with the blue, yellow, and red. And then just black and white. He literally uses them on every model. And they're great. Because you just get a vibrancy that knocks it out of the park in a way that's easy to control. But thinning. Lots of water. Thin them down because they will change the color of your model to whatever color they are instantaneously. If I was to put transparent green over this, it wouldn't be a subtle green. These models would be green. The blue would go away and just be a hint underneath the green. You'd still see it because of the transparency, but they have a unusually high tint strength without having to take you to full opacity. A lot of fun, but don't be afraid to thin them way more than you would think you need to, and then build them up with another layer if it's not enough color the first time.
Jeremy, the challenge for July will be up either this afternoon or tomorrow morning.
It's a Christmas theme.
It is Christmas theme.
Is what Chris said. I don't get involved. I'll let you fools design your own doom. I just show up and judge it all. I offer my judgment.
We have a couple questions about mixing and matching with other company paints. So first question is a variety of paints from other companies. What would you recommend from ProAcryl to complement them? And then the other question was, would adding some glaze and wash help match the monument finish?
For other paints?
Yeah.
The glaze and wash medium has a matting agent in it, but you'd be better off to varnish. Once it's mixed with the satin sheen of other paints, it's not going to turn them as matte as our paints. Nothing will other than a top coat of matte varnish. You can mix the matte varnish in, but again, you're starting from a point where by the time you put enough matte varnish into a paint to get it to feel that matte, you've diluted your opacity and desaturated the color. So it's always a give and take. I think the varnish coat at the end is what you wait for. Look at that, I'm done.
Yahoo!
Holy freaking 80 wing panels. Who decided to paint these models? Gabe, why are you making me paint these things?
I did not pick that, actually.
You did. You said if you're going to play Kill Team, you must paint Vespids.
It's true. And now that I'm watching you paint your Vespids, I'm really glad I did not get Vespids.
Other than these wing panels just being tedious.
Yes,
these things have been really cool. Like I said, I zoom back out. The whole squad, and all I've really done on this guy is base coat and the dark neutral gray. He'll be white like the guns. But everything else I did in like all the other paint was like 4 hours of painting. Yeah,
and then if you're to get some paints to complement a variety of other companies, it really depends on what you have.
Yeah, we always talk about if you already have a lot of paints and you're looking to step into ProAcryl, the best thing that I can say is to pick some colors that feel like you or exciting, or colors that you're going to use on a project you have planned. A lot of people say, hey, where should I start? We do a base set. The base set is a great amalgam of colors because it has the white, the red, the black, all the highest selling colors that people fall in love with very quickly, plus colors like jade and mahogany and burnt red and colors that you see us use all the time. So the base set has 24 colors. It's a great deal. But you can get the same deal if you're purchasing from us. You can get the same deal by buying 8 or more colors mix and match, because we do a build your own set on the website. So you get 10% off, which is a set discount once you get to 8 paints in your 8 singles in your cart. And that includes the expert acrylics. You can mix and match the expert acrylics and the normal paints too. And that gives you 10% off. So you can literally pick the colors you like and feel like you're buying a set and getting the benefit of buying a set for the discount. So it allows you to just pick colors that you maybe have problems with. We have a lot of people that say, oh, I really have a hard time painting pinks and yellows and oranges. So they buy our pinks, yellows, and oranges. Some people are like, I'm painting Imperial Fist, so I'm going to buy these colors to paint Imperial Fist. Or I have an army and an idea, so I'm going to buy the colors for that army and give it a try. That's the best thing, because again, it's that rule of cool. I always feel like if I tell you, buy Jade, Jade will prove how great our paint is, but you don't like Jade, then it didn't prove anything, right? So if you have a model or a project you're working on that you're really excited about, think about the colors you want and then buy some of those colors in ProAcryl. It'll be both exciting, and you'll find out that we have the best paint. Ta-da! Win-win. Do all those wing panels bug you? No, I actually am really enjoying these, right? I think that the part that gets me is that, especially when I do something like this, where, you paint and you get the airbrushing and the dry brushing and the wash is all I did. So just very, very simplistic work on these. Can you dial in the focus a little bit?
Yep.
Yeah. So, whenever I do something like this and I'm really happy that it happens quick, then, you get bogged down because then it's 80 wing panels with a base coat that takes 2 hours. And you're like, oh, the whole model can't be that fast because I can't just airbrush and dry brush the whole model. The details can't be done that way. So you might get a little bit bogged down, but it's just a little bit of a slowdown. But yeah, as for matching colors, like Anakin Skyhumper says, you can use the Paint Rack app for iPhone or Google and on Android, and it will allow you to get a close proximity of what colors match other companies' paint colors. They do a great job of having, I don't know, tons and tons of paint brands in there. And if you pick a paint from one brand and then you say what from other brands is close, then it'll give you a listing. It's not always perfect because it's digital representations of the color swatches, but it'll get you close. When will the expert acrylics be available to buy in the UK at Element Games? Element can order them. They have an order that just shipped, so it may be very soon. I do not know, though. I know that they had an order that went out within the last week, and so I would hope they're on there. But I don't have vision on that right now. Old Pyro Red and Bold Titanium White aren't going to beat the brakes off of their counterparts. Can't go wrong with them. Oh, are going to beat the brake. Yeah. Yeah, if you start with like our white and our red, jade, black, those colors will show you what we're all about. They're great test colors. Like when we send a store that wants to sample our colors, we put those kind of colors in there. They get a little 6-pack of colors to test out that are like our really... These will show you the power of Pro Acryl. And then everything else is the same formula. They all work very similar. Yeah, sometimes it is way off. The Rhinoxide and Dark Plum. Well, I mean, that may be true. It's really kind of like dark plum and black brown, right? The thing is I don't formulate any of our colors to match any other manufacturers. I make colors the way I like to paint and the colors that I see that work well when mixing them together to get you anything. So we are a little heavy-handed with that. We hope you learn to mix colors, and our colors are not scary to mix. You get exactly what you expect. The quality of our pigment is top-notch. The way our colors mix is top-notch. They're art supply colors for fine art. They're not house paint. I say that because house paint isn't meant to mix, and a lot of our competitors have paint that really, when you mix it together, kind of grays out and desaturates. So if you're afraid of that, and you're afraid of mixing because of that, you don't have to worry about that with us because they're fine art paints. They mix and give you the color that you expect every time. All right?
Mike, you do not need to thin the brush on primer for flow. You can just put them on, and they're ready to go.
Yeah, a little bit of dampness on your brush, just like anytime.
Yep.
Always mix colors, helps you learn color theory as well as how to change the saturation. So, yeah, exactly. Exactly. I try not to mix much for things like this. Like all these are just using the colors as they come out of the bottle because speed. But, whenever we paint like display models, like Lord Bzz, right, was, well, I don't know. I mean, on Lord Bzz, we didn't really, I guess we mixed for like the fly skin color.
Yeah.
But for all of the normal colors on here are no mixes. It's all, I mean, this is, right? The non-metallic metal takes you from Payne's gray through pale yellow and as mixes the whole way. That's just how I layer. So, but you can still paint at any level by not mixing. I believe you get to be a better painter by mixing. All right, gang. That's it. We're done.
We're out.
It's 4:06. Do you have any plans to make more vibrant colors? Looking at the AMP color line. Sorry, where did that go?
Here.
Oh, there are a lot of browns and grays. Tadpole, our line is filled with vibrant colors. The AMP color line is specifically meant to represent Star Wars colors. Because of licensing, we can't name them Star Wars colors, but they're Star Wars colors. So the world of Star Wars is not vibrant. It's very desaturated military-style colors, and that's why that whole line is like that. But our normal line has got tons of vibrant colors in it. We get a lot of people that want to use our colors in scale modeling that wish we would make less vibrant colors. So just look at the main range. There's tons of vibrant stuff. Yeah, like the Rogue Hobby said, is all vibrancy. Okay, bye! All right, gang, we're out of here. Thanks for hanging out. If you're new around here, came in from one of the raids, please hit that follow button if you're over on Twitch, or the subscribe button if you're watching us over on YouTube. We'd love to have you back. Remember, we stream 5 days a week generally. 4 days this week because we're off Friday for July 4th holiday here in the States. But usually Monday through Friday, 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. Mountain Standard Time from our wonderful HQ here at Monument HQ in Phoenix, Arizona. We'd love to see you back. Make sure to follow all the links that Gabe has put up in chat. The monumenthobbies.com link will take you to our store where you can find all of our wonderful products. The FLGS link will do you one better and show you stores near you. So as you're out on your gallivanting around town, hanging out with friends, playing games, painting, all that stuff, make sure to stop by a store and check out all of our goods there. Support local. And then make sure to check out our Discord. You can get the Discord link there. You can join, good God, 5,007, coming up on 6,000 amazing artists just like yourself, where you can get inspiration, hang out, tell fart jokes, look at people's pets and what they ate for dinner. It's a great place. Good times. Thanks for hanging out with us all, and we will see you tomorrow. Gabe's going to find somebody to raid, so show some love in the channel as you continue on your hobby journey this evening, and we will catch you back here tomorrow. Adios.
See ya.